Welcome to Leaving Nothing to Chance, your go-to podcast where we bring you insights from some of the most influential voices in small business and personal development. Each week, we dive deep into conversations with top thought leaders, authors, and business moguls from around the world, sharing their secrets to success and strategies for growth. Tune in for exclusive content that will inspire, motivate, and equip you to take your journey to the next level. This is Leaving Nothing to Chance.
Here we are. We're having a great conversation, Rylin. We should have hit record earlier on because now we'll have to repeat a lot of this important stuff.
We should have. We just started talking about the beach and skincare and like wellness. And I'm like, wait, why did we not start the podcast before? What?
Exactly. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm talking to you. I couldn't be better. And it's sunny out. So for hurricane season, I think we're doing pretty good.
It is hurricane season already, isn't it? Yeah,
It
I saw
is.
that the other day. That's South Florida. We don't worry about those things here in Texas. We worry more about tornadoes. Tornadoes are our thing. We almost had one last night, actually. It was really scary. My dogs let me know. All of a sudden, it was lightning and thunder and a little crazy here. Well, I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you and feel free to add. Of course, you are my fellow podcaster, the Take Care of Your Body by Rye podcast.
I love that for us. Podcasting with you. I'm ready to be your co-host. Let's do it. Come on, dream team.
Exactly. It would be. You'd have the best of the young and the not so young.
Hey, don't do yourself like that. You look great. So.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. And you're a yoga instructor, you're a wellness blogger, you're a registered dietitian. What am I missing?
I love coffee. I hit curbs occasionally. I'm your average girl. I put my pants on the same way everyone else does, but health and wellness is important, and I've made it a huge part of my lifestyle. And I just decided I wanted to show people that because we need more awareness on all of these things. There's so many variables that go into it, and we don't really have anyone that shows you the raw aspects of health and wellness and how we can incorporate it in the average lifestyle.
How did you get started? Were you an athletic kid in school or you start later or
You're going to love this story, and a lot of your listeners probably are too. Growing up in South Florida, the lovely place I'm in, I struggled with chronic asthma due to mold and mildew, which was horrible. I was in and out of the hospital with pneumonia more times than I could count, and it really affected me because I'd miss a lot of school and I was frustrated. So when the pandemic hit, I ended up not needing the medication because I didn't have to go to school. It was all online. And I ended up taking extra online classes. And during that time period, I also became a yoga instructor. I really fell in love with nutrition. I've always loved to cook. I'm Italian, so I grew up cooking in the kitchen, making all the fun stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, health and wellness is linked to what we eat as well. And during that time period, I had so much time on my hands. I was taking a lot of health classes as well. And I was like, wait, this is really cool. And it really affects how you look, but also how you feel. So I was like, wait. I feel better. I didn't need any medication. I started doing yoga. I built up my core. I really fell in love with exercise and nutrition. I was like, I want to do this for a living. So I ended up going back to school and I graduated high school at 15. I was like, whoa, I just pretty much built my dream life, started teaching yoga, and then I ended up going to get my master's in nutrition. So now I'm 18 and I'm pursuing a career. And it all really started because of my chronic health issues. I learned that it made me feel better and I wanted to help other people feel better and really listen to their body and what their body needs because our body is our home. And if we don't take care of it, no one else will.
so what are some of the habits that people should establish to be healthy?
Well, I think it really goes into the individual. I always like to say health and wellness is so individualized. What works best for me is not going to work best for you. But I think finding a form of movement you love, and I feel like this is horrible because today's day and age, it's, oh, I have to work out. No, you get to work out. I like to think about it as someone in a hospital bed is wishing they had the ability to do that workout you're doing. So I think first of all, understanding that mindset shift, like we get to move our bodies. It's not something we are all able to do. So having that mindset, but also finding something that you love because working out should be something you enjoy. So if that's a walk, yoga, like we were talking about, Pilates, whatever it might be, find something you enjoy and stick with that. And then I think it really just feels like it's more of a part of your routine and not like a chore. Really incorporate eating healthy, so making sure you're eating balanced. On a nutritional standpoint, you want to be eating protein, fiber, complex carbs, all your greens, all your vegetables, whatever that might look like for your lifestyle. But also enjoy life. I believe in balance. So if you want to eat a little dessert or a little sweet treat, I think life is too short not to. And you can always make it healthier. Add almond flour, add coconut sugar, play around with the recipe. Don't restrict or avoid foods because you're afraid that they are going to make you gain weight or look a certain way. All foods can fit if you fit them properly. And I also believe in really taking care of your mental health as well, doing things that bring you happiness, reaching out to a friend, listening to a new podcast, reading a book, starting therapy if you need to. I think it really just all has to do with doing something for yourself that can make you feel better physically and mentally. And a lot of these things I just mentioned can work on both aspects, which we love. But I really believe health works for everyone in different ways and just finding steps that fit for you. But those are some of my non-negotiables. Oh, and also drink coffee. Coffee always makes the day better. That's just a little Rylan fun fact.
Hey, brought to you by Starbucks. I know.
Literally, no. Starbucks, when are you going to sponsor us? Because, like, it's time.
Exactly.
Have you ever had a lavender latte?
I don't think so.
I don't know if you're a coffee drinker. I can't remember. I feel like I asked you that, but I love lavender because it's so good for anxiety and really just if you're stressed out, it calms you down. So I'm totally like a lavender iced latte girl with some oat milk. Dream combination, and it works well for your mental health too, and it tastes so good. So if anyone wants to know my coffee order, that's it. But you need to try. You need to try it,
Okay.
actually.
You're right. It is. It's a flavor enhancer. That's the very to say the very least. And of course, back then they didn't know necessarily it was quote unquote healthy, but it is amazing. Have you ever seen some of the work that they've done with flowers, with some of the health aspects of flowers?
Yes, a lot of it's really interesting. And like now I heard you can eat some of them.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It's who is the guy that they call him? I'm going to forget his name right now, but it wasn't even in my questions. But you touched a nerve with the lavender. The guy that they
It's us. That's how it works with us, right?
the super hunter food guy. You know who I mean.
I know exactly who you mean, and I can't remember the name
He had a
either.
show with Zac Efron, actually. Zac Efron, the actor, teamed up with him, and they went to Costa Rica and all over the world hunting superfoods. But he was showing some of the flowers that you can eat and some of the medicinal properties, and it was like, wow, you can get that from a flower without all those terrible side effects of the
Right.
pharmaceutical.
And it's all natural, which I think is so amazing too. It really brings you back to our roots.
Exactly.
We as humans are not meant to be eating all of this processed food. It's not natural. It's not what really started out when you think about the human nature and how being a human was even a thing. Everyone really started eating plants and eating meat, not a lot of this garbage they're putting in food. So I think it really is important to also make sure what you're eating makes you feel good. I will preach that till the end of time.
You're absolutely right. And that when you watch old movies, you know,
Right.
sometimes I'll watch an old movie, and even though it was funny because a lot of times they're walking around with a cigarette in one hand, a drink in the other hand, but you never saw fat actors
Right.
in the 40s and the 50s and even the 60s. And then the processed food started sometime, I think, in the 60s or early 70s. And all of a sudden, not only did Hollywood get bigger, but so did the rest of us. So to your point, it's we're not supposed to be eating this stuff. It's not food.
And then we wonder why those actors died so young.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's what they were doing in your favorite film you watched of them.
Exactly. So what habits, if there was one habit
Right.
you should break to get healthier, what would it be?
You just really got me down an interesting path because I think it really depends on different age groups. In my world now, technology is a thing, and that's really what has taken over the world. But I truly believe the phones can really make things worse for mental health, physical health. If all you're doing is on technology, you're gonna get headaches, you're not gonna feel well, you're not gonna sleep properly. So I think probably limiting screen time is really important, even though that really seems like we turn our heads and that's what's everywhere these days. But making sure you're not on your phone too much. I know it's so hard because a lot of people do it for work or for school, but finding things in between you can do, whether that's a quick workout class without touching your phone or reading a book, a physical book, people, not a digital book. I hate online reading. I think it just really loses that aspect of being able to highlight, being able to really hold something in your hands and feel it as well. But I would say limiting screen time and making sure you're filling your time with other forms of communication and engagement, because I think that really does play a role into health and wellness, truly.
How about changing some of the things that are obvious to others that sometimes are not so obvious to ourselves?
I agree. I think when it comes to the word addiction, I think everybody has an addiction, whether it's good or bad. For me, one of my addictions is coffee. My brain is used to it. For others, sometimes it can unfortunately be a drug addiction or alcohol abuse or food addiction in a way that's not healthy, where you're overeating and you're using food as a coping mechanism. So I think if you are in that sort of situation, you have to really look at it and understand, even if someone is telling you like what you're doing is wrong. I think it's hard when, you're reliant on something, whether it's a good addiction or a bad addiction, and you're like, oh, but that's my thing. You're not going to tell me to take away this thing I'm doing that I know is good for me, even if I'm abusing it. You have to know as the individual, okay, this is not well for me. I need to end this. I need to quit it, whatever, because everyone can tell you around you, like, stop smoking, stop drinking, but it really comes to the individual because they have to take the cigarette out of their own hands. No one can take it out of your hand for you. So I think that is where it's tricky, because it's, if you don't want to stop whatever habit you're doing and you don't want to break it, then, no one can force you to take better care of yourself. But I think it really comes down to, is this serving me? Is this going to do me good in the next 10 years? Really having that mindset. And if the answer is no, you got to stop it.
That's great. It's great advice. So let's talk about some of the trends that we see out there, whether we call these biohacks or not. That's the
Oh, John, we're gonna be here for a good 40 minutes because I will not shut up about this.
we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. So I'll just fire away at you different things that have become either popular or
Right.
vogue, and your opinions on them. Uh,
Let's do it.
okay, let's talk about cold water therapy.
I believe in it. I think truly for different things. Let's say you don't need it for medical reasons. I think even just to wake yourself up, it's good because your body doesn't like it. A lot of times, like the ice bucket challenge, we've seen all of this stuff. What's that? I forgot the name of it, but you put your face in ice or whatever for inflammation. Your body literally can't stand cold water, so it can wake you up. Your body wants to reject it, but it's actually really good for you. And when it comes to medical purposes, it does help with inflammation. It does help with circulation, blood flow, blood volume. I believe in it. I think it does more good than harm. And even for the average individual, just if you're sleepy, get in some cold water, truly, a cold shower. It's painful when you're doing it, but then you're going to feel better after because your body's, wait a minute, now I'm ready for the day. Yeah, because you just pretty much shocked your whole nervous system.
Exactly. Vasodilation.
Literally. No, it's so funny. I used to take hot showers and now I can't tolerate them. I'm like, I want a cold shower. It makes me feel better. I'm more relaxed. Yeah, bring on the cold showers.
It's funny because when I first started getting into the cold a few years ago during COVID, I read a book on cold water swimming that a Danish doctor had written. It was in the Danish language and they translated it to English, so it wasn't a great translation, but she made a great point. She said up to 100 years ago, there was no such thing as a hot shower. You didn't have hot running water in your house. So you wanted to bathe, you went and you got in whatever temperature the water was in the local creek or pond or whatever. You got in there with your soap and whatever, and you washed your body, right? So
Right.
oh, I'm going to wait till the water warms up. It may never, if you're living in North, for example, it may never warm up. You may,
Yeah, you're stuck.
and yet people were probably, once again, they were probably healthier than they are today. So let's talk about another thing that's become really popular, red light therapy.
Okay. I actually did a podcast episode on this, and I know you reached out to me because of it. We love Dr. Carl over here. He is so knowledgeable and so informative. I honestly didn't know much about it when I had him on. And right before I had him on, I did my research, obviously. The good podcast hosts do. So if you run a podcast, make sure you do your research. And I was like, oh my God, one technique can make so many different people feel better with different conditions. And at first, I didn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I did my own research into it. I think it's really amazing. It does so many different things for so many different people just by a red light. I was blown away. I was like, inflammation, chronic diseases, different forms. And then Dr. Carl was telling me it helped this one girl with heart failure. She ended up feeling better. I was like, are you kidding me? What? So I think honestly, when it comes to anything, you have to make sure you are adding it into whatever lifestyle routine you're doing. If that's a workout, if that's a run, a walk, whatever, don't let red light therapy be the only thing. Because if there's nothing else holding you up, then it's not, your body's going to get used to it and it's not going to have the same benefits. I think it's one of those things that it needs to be supported by healthy habits, proper sleep, proper exercise routine, eating whatever lifestyle works best for your body, if that's Mediterranean, if that's vegetarian, if that's vegan, whatever. Making sure you are using red light therapy as a support system, not as the only thing continuing to keep you going, because I think then that's where the longevity aspect of it comes from.
What are you hearing, if anything, about methylene blue? That seems to be popping up. I bought some. I can't tell you good or bad. I've been taking it for about, I don't know, maybe a month. Don't know if I feel anything different, but what are you hearing about it?
I think that is one of those things that is individualized. What kind did you buy?
I don't even know. It's a company out of Canada. It's on my desk here. It's called Naturalis was the company I bought it from in Saskatchewan, Canada. It seems like it's fine. The product itself is fine. The efficacy is fine. It's just I'm not sure, and it could just be because I'm on so many different things with glutathione and my diet and everything else that maybe I just don't feel it. I may not be a quick responder. I'm gonna keep taking. I bought 5 bottles, so I'm certainly going to use it. But I'm just wondering what you're hearing on it.
I think it's one of those things like there are all these supplements out there and they're like supports your brain health or supports your function. That's one of those things that they use to support brain health. I think it first of all sounds weird, like the name plain blue. What? It kind of makes you wonder. Is that even when I was studying nutrition, they were like, you want to make sure you can pronounce the ingredients and the things on the back of the box. And I was like, okay, so I'm someone I ask questions. I'm like, what happens if you can't?
Right.
And my professor told me if you can't, then that's a red flag in the dietetics world because it means that's not something you should be consuming for the most part. So I think the name is a little weird, but I think with anything, it's individualized. And if the individual tries it, I'm not going to say, don't try something because why not? Life is short. Make sure a medical professional, if you're on medication, they approve of it and it doesn't interact with any of your other medications. But I think try it out. And if it works best for you, it works best for you. I've heard a lot of people have taken it for cognitive support and it's helped them with ADHD, with focusing, with thinking. And I think after COVID, a lot of people ended up struggling with brain fog. And that is really hard to really get a grasp at and fix. So I think that's where supplements are really helpful because they not only help us if we're not taking something, consuming it in food, they give us whatever nutrient we're missing, but they can also support us in ways we don't often think about or think we need. So I think it's one of those things. Do your research on it. Don't knock it till you try it. And if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, stop it. If you get weird side effects, stop it. If your tongue ends up blue, stop it. We don't want you to turn into a Smurf, but I think it's one of those things where try it out. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, then don't buy it ever again.
Yeah.
But I also think those are these supplements, they're great, but I feel like we should take things at first hand. Like start with your own nutrition plan, balancing your own blood sugar first, really trying to support your own mitochondria before jumping into, oh, I'm going to take this so it can do it for me, it can support my own cognitive health. Like, why not we try and get blueberries, which are great for cognitive health? I don't know if anyone listening knew that or adding in different foods, doing research. I think research is the best thing. We have so many avenues of technology that we have the ability to. So I think, first of all, trying to solve a lot of your own issues yourself with nutrition, because nutrition's so powerful, we often overlook it as a society because we think, oh, people are going to tell me what to put in my body. It doesn't matter. It does matter. So really jump to fixing your own habits first before having a supplement do it for you. Because then you might end up blue, and then you're going to be like, oh, I didn't try my own nutrition plan, and now I'm going to be blue for the rest of my life because I have to take this supplement. I don't think it turned you blue. It might. I don't know.
I
Me
don't
and John will have to test that out and let you guys know on
I
our third
haven't heard it. I
podcast.
mean, I haven't taken the stuff for a couple of weeks, but so let's talk about another topic that comes up that I mentioned to you off air. That's something that I just started just in the last 2 weeks. So I can't tell people great results, not great results. I can tell you I was in a bench press competition Saturday, and because my hips are so shot from all the sports that I did, my cartilages are really gone in my
Right.
hips. I was able to get my feet all the way on the floor, which as with benching is a big deal because about 80% of the weight goes into your legs when you're benching heavy. And so that made me happy, and I think it's what I'm doing. So let me ask you the question as the authority on this: hot yoga, hot Pilates, other hot workouts. Okay, what's the benefit, and also what's the risk?
I think that obviously, like I think I mentioned earlier, with anything good, there is risk, unfortunately. So I would say let's jump to the risk first because thankfully there's not as many. The benefits outweigh the risk here. If you can't handle heat, a lot of people with chronic illness can't. That if you have heat intolerance, you have a cardiovascular issue, that would be probably a risk. You would be really sweating, your heart rate's going to spike because of the environment. Your body's going to be like, I'm trying to do something good, and you're literally telling me to be in heat, which we can't tolerate. So it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So I think that is definitely one of the risks. But I think the benefits, first of all, you're getting a great workout. A lot of people, when they think of yoga, they don't really think of a workout, and this is really a stereotype I hate as a yoga instructor. It really bothers me because yes, yoga is not really so intense all the time, but it's not just a workout for your body, it's for your mind. Yoga says what the mouth can't. It performs in various different ways that you wouldn't understand until you take a class. So I think yoga is really just good in general, but when it comes to hot yoga, you're pretty much doing a cardio intense workout because the environment is so hot, your body thinks it's really intense, even though it's not, and you're just doing normal flow with the temperature so increased. So I think the benefits really are the fact that you're having a good workout session, you're moving pretty much all of your muscles, and your blood flow is going to be so much better because of the stimulation, the environment, and the temperature. Yeah, it really throws people off. I'm not gonna lie. I'll never forget when I told someone about hot yoga. They were like, hot yoga? Why are you gonna willingly go do, a workout session in really high heat? And I said, because then when you're doing the workout, you're going to feel so much better after. Because I don't know about you, but after I sweat for a long period of time, I feel so good because you're releasing endorphins. You're feeling so much better. And when you're doing yoga, you're tricking your mind into thinking you just ran a race and you just did a nice flow in really hot degree room or wherever you're doing your session at. I know a lot of studios though really they don't skip when they say hot yoga. They raise that temperature really high.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on it or not at
I
this
think it's one of those things where it's like you have to look at it for, the face value. Are you willing to put your body through such an excruciating workout in that hot temperature if you can't even tolerate, for me, it's the Florida heat, or for you, the Texas sun. If you can't handle the outside heat, maybe hot yoga is not for you. And I think that's where you have to listen to your body and listen to it from a logical perspective. Because it's if heat's not good, what makes you feel dehydrated, don't do it. You can do so much more inside. For the same, do a good yoga flow and then get on your treadmill and then you'll get a good sweat. Do some cardio after yoga. I know a lot of people do this kind of yoga called cardio yoga. They have tons of YouTube videos on it. I've done a few flows and they're really intense, but you're obviously in your house or inside where you have water and nice air conditioning. So it's still pretty intense, but it's not literally excruciating where you're sweating and can't even think. I haven't done hot yoga before, but I don't think I would try it. I cannot handle the heat, so I don't think it's for me, but from a research perspective, I know it's good for some people. So really listen to your body, do research on it, and try it out if you want to try it out. Life is short not to, but be safe and ask your doctor if you can, especially.
I think you said the right thing too. Listen to your body. And going back to nutrition, it's if you take something and you feel good, okay, if you like eating blueberries and you eat blueberries and you feel good, great. But if you eat blueberries and you don't feel good, maybe don't eat blueberries, maybe eat strawberries, maybe try cantaloupe, maybe
Right.
try something else. And that right there is a lot of wisdom because so many people they want to do what the guy down the street's telling them to do as opposed to what works for them. And I think too, as an aging athlete and human being, there's certain things my body anymore shouldn't do. It shouldn't because they're risky. And so do what makes sense for your body that makes you feel good and that you're getting a result from. So let's stay on that. Jack LaLanne, one of my idols, had a great saying that nutrition was king, exercise was queen. You put them together, you build a kingdom.
I love that.
So, what along those lines, okay, how does somebody get started maybe that's listening to us today and they're saying, hey, great Rye, great John, you guys sound terrific. You guys work out every day. I haven't left the couch in 3 years. Maybe they've had a health condition. Maybe they've had a mental health condition, by the way, because a lot of people go through do things in life for lots of different reasons and it paralyzes them physically where they think I'm just not going to do anything. And maybe it's just an age thing. Maybe they just think, hey, my driver's license says a certain number, and that means I shouldn't work out. So how do they get started? Where should they start? What's those baby steps?
So I think first of all, with anything, being a human being is hard. So you got to give yourself self-compassion. Instead of saying, "Oh, I haven't worked out in 30 years. Why should I do it now?" Or the last time I went on a run, I fell. Or yeah, no, we're going to start from scratch. We are going to take whatever day it is, and you're going to think about a new beginning. You're not going to think about the past. You're going to be compassionate and kind to yourself and think, okay, yeah, maybe my last workout didn't go well or it was a long time ago, but let's just thank my body for waking me up today and getting me out of bed. And starting with that, I think gratitude is so important when it comes to anything, especially health and wellness, because this is such a competitive field. As it's so easy to see someone on the news or see someone on your Instagram feed and think you should be like them, look them, do what they're doing. And because you don't have the quote unquote ability to, you just don't do it. And I think as human beings, we all have the ability to do something. It's just we tend to stop ourselves and be our worst enemies instead of really taking the steps to get there. So I think also it takes 10 minutes. Do a quick couch workout, even move your arms, do something that you can sit down and do if you aren't really mobile. Research into ways you can build your health and wellness routine if you haven't in years. Google is a great source, but I think it really takes 15 minutes. If that's a walk, if that's a yoga session, if that's Pilates, a treadmill session, whatever it might be, just give yourself 10 minutes or even five. And then every single day you'll realize, wow, I like this. I want to go longer. Or, wow, this is really fun and it's helping me mentally and physically. Because a lot of times we don't realize that link until we realize it and we're like, wait, I feel so much better in both departments. I wonder why. Yeah, because you started a workout and your brain and your body are moving and are engaged. So I think instead of looking at this trainer doing a 2 hour workout, knowing 10 minutes is just enough for someone that's starting out. Your body just needs to move and be reminded it can function in different ways. So even if you haven't touched the dumbbell in years or thought about pulling out your yoga mat, being kind, being compassionate to yourself, and realizing you deserve the best, even though being a human is hard, even though maybe your life isn't the way you want it to look, even though things are falling apart, maybe you have a lot going on, whatever, your health matters just as much as whatever else is going on in your life. And I think that is also so hard too, because a lot of times we see moms or teachers or all these amazing professionals pour into other people, but they don't realize you have to also pour into yourself to love others. So it's like knowing that acting in and working out is a form of self-love and self-care. And for you to be able to feel good enough to love the people around you and to do what you love, whatever that might be, you have to take care of yourself. So giving yourself 10 minutes, 15 minutes of some self-care, a quick workout, a quick journaling session, whatever fits your needs is going to do you amazing in the long run. So I think that is my piece of advice.
Love it.
Start small, then you can build up.
Makes
Small
total
steps.
sense. It makes total sense. And sometimes it's just a little micro workout, like you say. You don't have to go to the gym and be there for a week.
Exactly. And I think that is so hard because we compare ourselves to these people that have been doing this for like their whole lives, pretty much being a power lifter since they were a baby. And I'm like, I would not be able to do that for longer than 25 minutes, but okay, go off, do you. But it's like, your body is not meant to do what someone else's body is doing. And that's okay. It's all the time I see people on Instagram, oh, I wish I looked like this girl, or I want to look like her. It's like, your body is not supposed to look that way. Genetics and so many other things play a role, and just be grateful for what your body can do. And I think that's the most beautiful thing because it comes with the saying, as human beings, it would all be boring if we all were the same. It's so true. Imagine your friend and you do the same workout. It's not fun. Then you can be like, oh yeah, let's try this workout. And then you can switch workout routines. It's so much more fun that way instead of you doing the same exact thing they're doing because you want to look like them, even though that's biologically not possible. I think it really just is individualized. Health and wellness, I'll say it until the end of time, is individualized, and what works best for you is not going to work best for your neighbor next door, and that's okay. That's so human.
Wow. And that's great advice with what you're saying there, because so many people, it's, yeah, everything's a comparison. They get frustrated, you know what I mean? Because they do look at somebody who's an elite athlete and they think, I can't do what they do, therefore I'll do nothing. It's like,
Right.
you know, if they're an elite athlete, they're probably getting paid to do what they do, first of all. And
Oh, exactly.
in one way, shape, or form, they're getting compensated. That's not, you're doing it to maintain your longevity more than anything else. You know what I mean? To be around for your family and for your life.
And
So
for all the amazing events, that's the thing too. It's I often hear people like, "Oh, I got to do it for my grandkids," or "I want to see my grandkid graduate and I got to take care of my health for them." It's no, you have to do it for you, but they can inspire you to keep going, and I think that is important too.
would you agree? Well, I've said this to people and I've gotten some rolled eyes at it, but that self care, which sometimes is narcissistic, because we say, I have to work out.
Right.
Okay. And somebody says, yeah, but you're going to miss whatever. You're going to miss your kid's baseball practice or whatever. Don't miss the game. Don't miss the recital. But if you miss practice because you're going to work out, it's not a bad thing, mom and dad. It's actually a good thing. And of course, you become a good role model to your kid as they grow up. One thing my kids can never say is, hey, we know dad went to the gym all the time. Dad lived at the gym all the time. And they were athletes, fortunately. But now that they're a little bit older too, they still maintain going to the gym because they know it's good for them and it's part of what it's them. But along that way, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So the person who says, hey, you know what? I just don't have time because my kids have me so busy. Joey's in soccer, Mary's taking piano lessons, Bobby's playing baseball. I just don't have time. How do they justify, not that they need to justify, but how do they justify to themselves that, hey, by being selfish, I'm really being selfless long term because I'm going to be there when, okay, yeah, right now maybe the kids are little, but I'm going to be there when they really need me, maybe later on in life.
I think you have to realize, like, the thing is about narcissism, it's called pretty much from a psychological perspective, it's being self-absorbed. And the thing about working out is, first of all, we get to work out. We don't have to. We get to. And I think that in itself is a form of self-love, knowing the fact our body is literally allowing us to work out, to move in that way. There are so many people who can't. So I think just knowing that is a great step. Like, your body is allowing you to, and you working out is you thanking your body for allowing you to move. So that's a great way to think about it before, the intrusive thoughts come in as to I should be here doing this, doing that. But also realizing like self-care is you being self-aware, and that fuels connection and it fuels all the things you love. Because when you work out, you're first of all, there's this whole theory, and I should send you the research to it. I feel like you're gonna find it really interesting, where you can have a really bad argument with someone, really bad. But if you work out before responding, you step away, you're like, I gotta go do something with my body, with my mind, and you come back to that argument, you are going to be so much more peaceful, calm, collected. You can't be mad after doing a workout. So I think knowing that from a science perspective, it really shows we need to work out and to move our bodies to self-regulate our emotions and our mood. Because if we don't, we're going to have so much stress and tension built up. We're going to lash out on the people we love and we don't mean to. We're going to be so stressed driving when there's a red light and we want it to be green because we have to go somewhere in 15 minutes. The little things will make us on edge, but if we find the time to carve out for ourselves, we're going to really act in self-love that later on when we have to take our kids to soccer or do go to class or do work, we're really present and we're there because we showed up for ourselves already and we already regulated our body and our nervous system for the day. So I think knowing that perspective or even thinking about how it would be if you didn't show up for your body that day. If you didn't take that 15-minute, 10-minute even walk or do your 35-minute workout in the morning, what would your day look like? You're probably going to be super stressed, have so much tension, be pretty much angry because you didn't get your workout in. You have so much going on and you're just so much as go. You're just so on edge. Really think about it from that perspective. If I skip my workout, will I feel better? No. So get that workout in because you know it's going to do you good. I think just really think about it that way.
Now, are you an early morning workout girl, or are you just when you get there?
Okay, so I used to wake up at 5 a.m. in high school and do yoga. I was so dedicated. I knew I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get this in any other way. Now I'm not a morning person whatsoever. So I really get it in the evening at afternoon time, which I think is just so much better because at that point I'm done with the day. I know it's really time I can be with my thoughts and my the way I really feel, and I'm not thinking about what I have to do or how much I have on my plate or emails I have to reply to. So I understand both perspectives. Morning time, no one's up, it's quiet, it's just you and your thoughts. You can prep for the day, but evening time you can unwind and really think about your self-care and your wellness and not 25 emails you have to get to later. So I think now I'm really grateful I am an evening girl because knowing me then, I just was so like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I couldn't have anything hang over my head. Now I'm more mellowed out and I'm like, I'll get to it later. This is my time for me to move my body. What about you?
I'm an early morning guy. I got to
I'm
hit it.
not gonna lie. You give me that energy.
I got to get up and do it. But late afternoon, I do something like when we're done. I got another podcast this afternoon. Then I got one other client I got to talk to, and then after that, I'm just gonna go for a walk, just like in my
Oh,
neighborhood.
nice.
No big deal. Believe it or not, I walk backwards a lot.
Interesting.
And I got to do that on a sidewalk, obviously, so I'll get run over by a car. And so I've got a path that I do around our neighborhood. Sometimes I take one of my dogs with me. Sometimes I just do it by myself. And sometimes I'll just listen to a podcast or some music or something. It takes me about a half hour. I just kind of to move my body a second time in the day. And it helps me to wind down, honestly, because all day I'm going. It's like the second I'm
Hey,
done working out, I'm jumping into my day.
your nervous system's ready, like
Yeah,
on it.
I'm spinning plates nonstop and multiple plates because I have multiple businesses. So at the end of the day, it's I might be doing this business, then I'm doing this business, and I'm dealing with this person and on. And I just find that second workout just calms me down a little bit. And then I've got my cooling tank, so I'll do a couple of 3 minutes minimum in my cooling tank, and I've got my medical sauna. Sometimes I'll take another sauna, and I'll sit on the phone. I'll work at the same time, and
Yeah, multitask.
nobody cares. You know what I mean? I'll do that. And then sometimes I'll just sit outside. Just like if it's a nice day, I'll just sit outside, watch my dogs run around the backyard and just enjoy the birds and the squirrels and all the other little varmints
Mm.
in my backyard and just say, hey, you know what? Let me just breathe because breathing is so important. Which like
It
we
is. We forget to breathe. We don't think about breathing, but we're like, wait, I literally can take a deep breath and exhale. Whoa, I have the power to do that. Because as human beings, we're so disconnected. We forget we literally have nature in our backyard. We can go outside and enjoy the littlest things, the things that have been here before we have even been here. And it's so beautiful when you notice the little things. It makes your whole day.
I believe it or not, I've got a love of squirrels.
I love that.
It's really funny, and I have a lot of squirrels in my backyard, and I think they're very industrious little creatures. If you watch them, they're always working. They're always preparing for the winter, right? There's a lot of good preparation in the squirrel community. They're always like taking nuts and putting them aside and all of that kind of thing. So I like to watch them. And of course, my dogs freak out, and the squirrels, they'll stay on the top of the fence. They won't go near the dogs, and the dogs freak out and bark at them. And I don't know what the dogs would do, by the way, if one actually fell in the yard. That hasn't
Right?
happened yet, but
You'll have squirrel for dinner.
I watch the interaction between the animal kingdom. Enjoy that. But let me ask you a couple of other questions here, Rylan, as we start to wrap up. What's a perfect day for you?
I feel like a perfect day is really one where I start out by moving my body. And what I've noticed is that's going to look different every day, I'm not going to lie. But a quick walk in the morning with my dogs. I love spending time with my dogs and my family. If I'm surrounded by people I love, I'm going to feel so much better because I think truly the people you surround yourself with are going to affect your own mood. And if you're surrounded by people who don't make you feel good about yourself, you're not going to feel good about yourself. So, really doing movement with someone I love or something I love, like my dogs, really starts my day off good. Obviously, a day where I can either take some time for myself, maybe I'm not super busy that day, I really can take 25 to 15 minutes unwinding and really declearing my mind, maybe do some yoga, not touch any electronics, meditation, something outside. I love being outside and being in nature. I just think it's so healing and so moving. And I love to write also. So I'll probably write in my journal. I'm not one of those people who type and write on the computer. I have to touch paper. So I think really connecting with my body and my own soul outside is like the dream plan. Because if you're not really focusing on what's going on or who you have to reply to for 10 minutes, you can really learn a lot about yourself. And I think that's really the most beautiful thing about being a human is we often think, oh, this is me as a person. And then you're like, is that really me or is that the me everyone knows? Let's really get to know me. Who am I? What are my values? What are my goals? So I like to really have kind of days where I can get to know myself and really learn a lot about myself and how I want to show up in my work. So any perfect day for me is a day off where I can be outside with nature, create, but not literally create, like mentally prepare myself to create for the next day or two with podcast ideas, etc. So not touch any electronics and really just have a little retreat where I'm taking care of myself, doing self-care, lighting a candle, maybe I'm baking, doing something that makes me feel good, that my hands can be into and moving my body in whatever way I want to that day, but not forcing myself to be so wired to my phone or computer. I think just taking a break from that is so good for your mental health.
Oh, yeah, couldn't agree more. And okay, let me segue that. Okay, this is a really bad segue because we're talking about not using technology, but how do you use technology in your podcasting, your yoga, and all the other things that you're involved with business wise?
Well, I love that you asked that because you know what? Like, I can sit here and say technology is bad for you, but a lot of the people I love are in this little thing. So I have to have respect for it because that's how I talk to some of my friends that live in different states, or I reply to amazing professionals. So it's not really a bad thing. I think it really depends on how you use it. So for me, I'm going to be connecting, FaceTiming my friends, calling my friends, sending sweet messages to my people, letting them know I'm proud of them, wishing them a good day. And for everyone listening, take this as your sign. If you haven't checked in on someone, if you haven't thought, if you are thinking about someone but you haven't reached out, send them a quick message. I promise it's going to make their whole day. Really just let someone know you're proud of them and you're thinking about them. I think as human beings, we need to do that more. And I know when people do it for me, it always leaves a smile on my face. But when it comes to technology, I use it for connection and for creating, content creating. I'm always editing a podcast. I love Descript. This is not sponsored by them, but that's where I edit my podcast at. And I just, it's so fun to really be creative and edit your podcast or edit for Instagram and use different templates and fonts and be creative in that way. I'm not gonna lie, in school, I was never the best artist when it came to drawing or being creative on paper, but I'm really good with the digital world and using technology for creativity. So I'm really proud of myself in that regard. And I really love content creating. So I'm either using my phone and computer for replying to emails and connecting with people for my podcast, talking to the people I love that are long distance, or just really being a normal person and scrolling on Instagram and getting inspiration that way, but making sure what I'm viewing is serving me mentally because that can play a role too. And I think you just have to unfollow people. If their content doesn't resonate with you and it makes you feel bad about yourself, hit unfollow. There's nothing wrong with that. No one is going to come at you. You got to protect your own mental health and your physical health. And if someone's bringing you down, they don't deserve to be in your space.
Love it, love it. So, last question. Now, this is a perfect segue. So, tell them a little bit
Yay.
about your podcast. Tell them how they can reach you. And you coach people online as well as right
I
there
do.
in the apartment. So
Yes.
tell them how they can get in touch with you and be inspired and pick up some of that tremendous knowledge base that you have.
Can I cry? That is the sweetest thing ever. I literally want to make you cookies. I have to come to Texas and I'll visit you and we can hang out. I know some people in Texas, some people I love are in Texas, so we can all just hang out and I'll bake for you. I got you. I'll make you healthy cookies. I got you. So, thank you so much also for having me on. I'm so honored, and I think everyone should follow John, support John if you haven't. He's amazing. I'm actually your hype girl. I got you. But when it comes to me, my podcast, Take Care of Your Body by RY, so it's Rye, but make sure you spell it RY, is streaming on all podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple, and pretty much it's a safe space for self-care, self-love, health and wellness. I sit down with amazing health and wellness professionals. I'm someone who does not know everything, but I'll find someone who does. If I don't know about it, I'm going to invite the right guest on and we're going to talk about some really hard conversations because I believe as human beings, hard conversations should be have and no one is having them. And it really breaks my heart that a lot of people don't know the real side of health and wellness. So I wanted to create a space where people can go feel seen, supported. It doesn't matter who they are. Thing is anybody and anybody is welcome. So it doesn't matter what you look like, what you do for work, whatever your demographics are, you are welcomed in my podcast, in my space, because there's something you're going to relate to. I talk a lot about mental health, physical health, and really just being a human being. And I think a lot of it can relate to someone on some level. So if you want a safe space for health and wellness, definitely follow it and check it out. I release episodes every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'm really passionate about it. I think just being human and being real is my favorite thing. I'm very vulnerable and authentic, and I take pride in that because I want people to relate to me. I've been through some really hard things, but I believe we can turn our pain into passion and make a beautiful project out of the mess. So when it comes to that, it's on all podcast platforms, and you can follow me on Instagram at Take Care by Rye. I post healthy recipes, podcast content, wellness content, nutrition tips, and I'm always here to help you live the best, healthiest life for yourself. Being a human is hard, health and wellness shouldn't be. So feel free to reach me on there. And you can also email me at recipesbyry@gmail.com. I'm always available to answer your nutrition questions, your health and wellness questions, or if you want to be a guest on my podcast, shoot me an email. We'll see what you got. So that's a little bit about me, and I clearly like to yap, so that's why I'm a podcast host.
I I can relate.
I think that's what gets us in this field. I bet you probably were the kid in school that like would talk when the teacher was trying to teach and they were always like, be quiet. Actually, I started a podcast, so
That's what future podcasters, you know what I mean? It's like you could tell them in school already, probably.
literally like that should be a thing. Most likely to become a podcaster.
Exactly, exactly. Rylin, this has been a privilege, my friend, and just keep inspiring people. You're doing a great job, and you're a blessing to everybody. So thank you for being you.
Aw, thank you for being you, John. Thank you for doing what you're doing in the health and wellness world. It's always a dream to collab with you, and we have to do this more. My
Yeah,
new co-host.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much. This was such an honor.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check back weekly for more exciting episodes. And don't miss Ink and Insight every Wednesday, where we celebrate iconic authors and dive into their impactful works.